Well, you might have heard on WLR News recently, or indeed seen on our website, WLRFM.com, that Keltech is to create 50 new jobs, which is a significant hiring announcement for Waterford. As well as that, the company is going to expand its premises. Seamus Lawler is Director of Business Development with Keltech, and he joins me in studio. Seamus, how are you?
Hi Mary, good, thanks.
Good stuff. Tell me a bit about yourself before we talk about the company.
So I'm the Director of Business Development with Keltech, coming on 10 years with the company. One of the long-termers at this stage.
And how did you get into this business then? Or you're from Waterford, West Waterford, we were saying.
West Waterford, yeah, closer to Clonmel, so I get a nice bit of a slagging about that. Yeah. So kind of fell into it. Started in a procurement role back in early 2012, I think it was. And it's the culture and the ethos of the business that people promote from within, and worked my way up to the position that I'm in today.
And I suppose the whole story of Keltech is amazing, isn't it? It started in a shed. Yeah. Ray Breen founded the company in 1988. Ray is still the current CEO, and a real success story for Waterford. He started just a local kind of engineering firm here in Waterford, and just servicing the needs of local businesses back in the late 80s and early 90s, and just continued to expand through the 90s and into the noughties, and a real success story in Waterford, I think. And when we say a shed, we actually mean a garden shed.
The garden shed at home he started in. He did indeed.
That's a great story. Tell me exactly what Keltech does then, because we were saying, off air, there's loads of these big Waterford operations and significant companies and people doing all this amazing work, and a lot of the time it's just not known about. So what does Keltech do?
Yeah, I think that's definitely true of Keltech. So probably the main reason for that is we don't have our own product. We're a subcontract company. So we make stuff for other companies essentially. The core of the business is sheet metal fabrication. So if it's metal, we can make it. So
I like that mantra. If it's metal, we can make it.
Yeah. And that was probably the strategy up to about 6-7 years ago. If it's metal, we could make it, and we can transform a sheet of steel into basically anything out of metal work. We can cut it, fold it, weld it, paint it, and final assembly. And that was our mantra up to kind of 2014. If it's metal, we can make it. But we kind of found that was a fiercely competitive environment to be in. So it was a commodity more than anything that we were trying to sell at that time. So, we probably looked at that. Our business was solely in Ireland and the UK. Yeah. And it was based on price, and it was a really, really fiercely competitive environment. So hence the new strategy came along, and we are where we are today.
So what was the new strategy then?
Yeah, so I suppose we decided we can't be all things to all people, essentially. And we decided we looked at the product range that we had, and we decided to narrow that, and we focused on 4 particular areas. We said, look, that's where we're going to drill into, and they're going to be our 4 sweet spot areas, our 4 areas of expertise. Those are fuel and hydraulic tanks, acoustic enclosures, cabinets for the telecommunication industry, and cabs and overhead guards for forklifts and material handling equipment.
And of course there's a massive spike in construction at the moment. There has to be, because of the lack of supply that has been going on for the last few years, and we are where we are now. But has that made yourselves busier, or is it more commercial stuff you're involved with?
Yeah, no, it has. There's a huge need for the type of equipment that we're supplying into. So our brand has got incredibly strong over the last 5 to 6 years. Across Europe now, we're kind of identified as a go-to company for the likes of fuel and hydraulic tanks, because we got so niche and so focused in a particular area. Our customers, who are original equipment manufacturers, so the likes of Caterpillar and Volvo and Manitou and Liebherr and companies like this, they kind of look at Keltech and they say, look, those guys are experts in tanks. We need to go to them for all our needs in this area, because it's become a really complex area of their machine build. So they need to trust a company that, manufacture their tanks. And that's probably where we've been pitching for the last number of years. And, of course the market is extremely busy, but I think it's more our focus on particular products and being classified as experts in those fields that have really driven the growth for Keltech.
And are you making all those products in Waterford on site? site.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. We'd have a huge array of products going through. Sometimes people walk into the factory and go, "Oh my God, I can't believe it! Like you've got a fuel tank for Volvo over here. You're making a canopy for Caterpillar. It's huge brands. Some of the biggest brands. We supply 6 out of the top 10 construction original equipment manufacturers in the world in Keltech. So people walk in the door and they go, I hadn't a clue what was going on in here. And you know, it's part of what we do. We probably haven't been out and about enough in Walford and kind of shouting from the rooftops who we supply and what we do.
I think you made such a valid point at the start in that you're not the brand that we will see at the user end of things. So we see Caterpillar or we see Volvo. Exactly. So we mightn't necessarily make the connection with yourselves then.
Exactly, yeah. But I suppose there's a huge trust between us and our end customers. So you take, for example, the likes of a power generator where we'd actually supply the whole housing of that. Yeah. So when you look at that at the back of a hospital or at the back of a hotel, you go, well, look at that, and it's all shiny and lovely and all that, and you see the Caterpillar branding on it or whatever the customer may be that we're supplying. That's actually Keltech's paintwork, painted in Walford. So our paint is actually, they're entrusting us with their brand because we're painting the end product. And the same with the tanks. A lot of the time now on the construction equipment, you would see that the tanks form part of the external skeleton of the machine. So again, this is part of where Keltech are experts in paint, and that's been a huge part of the pitch to the end customer.
Are you having any issues with supply of raw materials because of the worldwide shortage and because of Brexit and the perfect storm that's going on at the moment that we're hearing a lot about across a lot of industries?
Yeah, I'd say the last year and a half has definitely been probably the most difficult in the 30 years or over 30 years of business that we've had from a supply chain point of view. So, you know, there's huge shortages of steel out there. Prices are always on the increase. But we've navigated really, really well. So we've a top-class procurement team. You know, we're looking way out ahead. We're talking to customers. We're communicating. We're already out booking steel for all of next year, 2022, which is, you know, it sounds crazy because we would have never had to give in that type of vision to our suppliers in the past. But we're doing it, and I think communication is key. Communication with the end customer to explain how difficult the supply chain is, and then communication to the supply chain that we're actually involved in and saying, hey, this is our requirements for the next 6-12 months.
Okay, so it's a lot of organisation, I'd imagine, and forecasting. Yeah,
surely. I would have to agree. The back office in Keltech, you know, they're doing a really super job, and that's been core to our success. We've had 0 stoppages due to stockouts, and I would say in our industry, there's not that many companies that could actually say that in the last 12 months. So, it's definitely, we've had to be agile and nimble and all the stuff that goes with that, but we've handled the last year and a half really, really well.
Tell us about the announcement. You're hiring 50 staff. That's a lot of staff to look for. You know, I mean, it's a big announcement for Waterford as well. You know, I think it stopped people in their tracks, really, when we heard the news last week. So who are you looking for here?
Everybody, really. It's mostly on the floor that we're looking for people. So we have a requirement for CNC operators, machine operators. We're looking for people in welding. We're looking for people in our final paint and assembly. So all across the factory. And these are skill jobs. I suppose jobs is a word that we don't even like using. I think what we're trying to, careers is really what we're driving towards. You know, take for example my own self, started in a procurement role. I'm in the position today. Declan Walsh is our COO. He started as a CNC machine operator a lot of years ago. I couldn't even say how many years ago, but he's the COO. And look at Ray himself. Ray was a fitter by trade, and he's built this, you know, top class company here at Waterford. So yes, we're looking for floor positions. There's lots of opportunities for experienced people and inexperienced people, and I think that last bit is key. We are really trying to drive the whole training and development side of our business. So we've created a welding academy in Keltech. So basically, if someone feels, I'm mechanically minded, I like working with my hands, there's an opportunity. You may not have the experience, but there's an opportunity to come to Keltech. We'll put you on a training course. We'll pay you while you're on the training course, and at the end of that, then you'll be filtered into our production department, and the training will continue as you move into production. But we're looking for both. Experience would be great, but you know, if you've got enthusiastic individuals that are listening to this, both male and female, I should say.
was going to say, I mean, we always kind of traditionally think of men in these roles, but that's changing.
Yes.
Yeah, which
absolutely.
is good. Yeah.
It's been a male-dominated industry for many, many years.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're seeing massive opportunities across the whole manufacturing side for more females on the manufacturing floor. You know, maybe you go back in the past and you know, the equipment specification or whatever may not lend itself to that. Mm-hmm. You know, we've spent a huge amount of money on automation and continue to do.
Yeah.
And really there's an opportunity there for everyone and anyone that's enthusiastic and thinks that, you know, this type of industry really would suit me.
Excellent. And you have expanded your premises, or you've at the very least you've plans to do that anyway, I should
We're
say.
in the middle of it. Yeah. It's moving along as planned, which is great. So what we have is we're on the Idea Industrial Estate on the Cork Road. The facility that we're currently operating out of is 120,000 square feet. We purchased about 3 years ago the land that was actually adjoining the site.
Okay.
And we're developing that at the moment. So we're adding a 40,000 square feet expansion to the existing factory. So under one roof, by the time we hit January 2022, we'll be 160,000 square foot all under one roof.
Excellent. How many staff have you at present, actually?
We're around 220 at the moment.
Okay.
But that's growing week on week. That's growing.
Yeah.
And like we said, we need 50 people probably straight away. Between now and Christmas, we need 50 people to support the growth that we see early next year.
Where will people see those jobs advertised?
Yeah, so they're on our website. They're on all our social media. Indeed, everywhere really that you would expect to look for a job in Waterford, we're advertising. So we really want to hear from people who are interested and feel like, this could be an opportunity for me.
Seamus Lawler, Director of Business Development with Keltech. People will find you online on social quite easily, I'm sure. It's Keltech. Thank you so much for talking to me. Really positive story. I appreciate you coming to studio.
Yes, appreciate it. Thanks.